Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Deiser, and I'm here with my Gaming Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lang. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's get to the news.
Sounds good.
Number one story of the day is Tom Brady's diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is exciting.
I mean, it's came to our attention because obviously our nephews are obsessed. One specifically loves Tom Brady, favorite player.
Mm-hmm.
So when his diet was in the news, basically his personal chef is going on about what he eats like,
Mm-hmm.
and what him and his wife, what their diet is.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that caught our radar.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So the diet is based on Dr. Weil.
Yeah, his anti-inflammatory diet.
Exactly.
Which is so funny because I bought that book secondhand at a random bookstore on Salt Spring Island.
Right.
And we read it coming back on the ferry. How many years ago?
It must have been 2008 or 2009.
I want to say that the book is written in the 70s or 80s.
I don't even know. It looks like an old book.
Oh, I think this is a concept that...
He's been teaching it for a long time.
A long time. So I think a lot of the main things I remember about it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a high fruits and vegetables, but no nightshade vegetables.
Yes, no nightshades.
Mm.
Yeah, for the possibility of they can cause inflammation in certain people.
And no caffeine.
Right.
I forget the rest. You tell me.
Well, it's, like you said, high focus on fruits and vegetables, dark leafy greens, high focus on whole grains, lean meats, and
but it's a low percentage
and
of
healthy
meat,
fats.
is it not?
A low percentage of meat, 20% meat or something like this. I'm not sure the exact details, but the focus is on salmon and lean meats. Is the only ones that are allowed. Healthy fats, monounsaturated fats, and the only dairy he allows in the diet is organic yogurt, high-end cheeses, and but Tom Brady and Gisele don't participate in that portion. They're dairy-free.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a great story to come out because it's such a good role model diet for kids, I think.
I like how casually you just said, well, Tom Brady and Gisele don't participate.
Did I say Gisele?
Yeah, it's kind of like you went for coffee with them yesterday, and
right.
They just let you know.
But I don't call him Tom, I call him Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady and Gisele. But
I think in mensjournal.com, the way they wrote it is they say Tom Brady and Gisele.
Isn't that funny?
I think, yeah, so that's what I read. I
think it's so good. It's so good for these young kids that are looking up to these athletes to see something instead of seeing, promoted sports drinks or takeout, to see something real and that it be such a healthy path.
For sure.
It's so wonderful. And also, when you think about, I wonder how it's going to go because, so much of American football is tied to tailgating and binging on, wings and greasy foods and cheese dips and beer. And, I wonder if maybe that will also inspire some
definitely
sedentary gentlemen that just sit and watch the sport to be healthier.
Absolutely. Well, the only alcohol that's allowed is red wine and minimal amounts on this diet specifically. And there's no junk food on the diet, obviously.
No.
So that's one of the major criticisms, is that people can't sustain such a rigid diet for a long time, but I don't necessarily think it's true.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about easing into healthy eating.
Definitely.
And like I say to all my members, that's why we start with, a treat a week. And that treat a week will evolve as you evolve.
Right.
Your taste will evolve. Like I said, when I first started, my treat a week would be like, I'd eat so perfectly healthy, and then, Friday or Saturday night, I'd go get Ben & Jerry's and, like, a bag of chips and...
bulk chocolate-covered pretzels, yeah.
Yeah, like, just junk that
right.
I wanted. Now my treat is, like, I don't know. Once in a while, if I'm really craving something, it'll be like a just a treat meal at a really nice restaurant. I don't know.
Yeah, or something from the blog.
Well, yeah, those are the basics. That's where I go anytime I'm craving something sweet. I can't remember the last time I purchased something sweet outside of making it.
No, for sure.
There's always something delicious in our freezer, and we just kind of cut it up in portions and grab. I guess my go-to favorite thing is my date caramel recipes.
Yeah.
So either the turtles or just the...
I like those. Did you hear me? That was me.
No, that was me.
That was you too. Oh my gosh.
Or the salted caramel.
Yeah.
Caramels that I make. I could eat those right now.
Oh, well,
for breakfast.
I mean, you hear me too. Definitely.
But yeah, I can't think of, going out and getting a treat. I mean, last weekend I had kale chips and falafels on a kale salad. I mean, it's just so lame.
Big treat, yeah.
Right?
It's so lame.
Your taste will evolve, and you don't want to eat those things, especially when you start to feel that toxic or allergen response. You just don't want it. You don't want a food hangover. You don't want to hurt your body.
No.
But there's no pressure to be perfect at first either. So
that's true.
It's about evolving and feeling what's right for you.
It is, and easing into it, like you promote.
Definitely.
So our friends Tom Brady and Gisele, doing it. Well, I mean, I love the focus on that it's anti-inflammatory, because for young athletes out there, they want to eat for fuel.
Right.
And so often young athletes are eating because they know they need lots of calories, so they'll just eat whatever. I need lots of calories to recover.
Definitely.
But my gosh, you can get so much more benefit if you eat healthy.
And nourishment. I love it. I love it, and I love that it's football because it's tied to the idea of, football Sundays and junk and
masculinity as well.
I love it about masculinity.
That's a bigger discussion. My gosh.
Because my views on masculinity. The whole idea of being a man is wings and beer and steak and whatever, and now you have this American ideal masculine man saying, "Yeah, I don't eat that stuff," and honestly, I only eat about 20% of my whole dietary intake is meat, and it's only fish and
fish,
organic.
eggs, chicken, and turkey. Like, right. I mean, my gosh, it's only lean.
I love it. I can't even explain to you how excited it makes me. I hope that more, men in influential places like this step forward and say, because we know a lot of them do.
Oh, absolutely.
But so, it's tied to masculinity, and it's tied to what's popular in America, and he'll get backlash for this. As ridiculous as that sounds.
Yeah.
He'll be called things.
For sure.
Because we know.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, or I get most excited is about the dairy-free.
Oh.
Because he's going to, and Dr. Weil is like, okay, well, there's no milk on his program, but there is, organic yogurt, and there is high-end cheeses that are not GMO and all these things that, but they're not having dairy at all, which is huge because young people love dairy, especially.
Not only that, remember the last time that we went to that college basketball?
Yeah, we went to CIS. Sponsor.
Every 2 seconds, the milk ads and all the athletes should be drinking chocolate milk for recovery, and we were just cringing. I mean, this is the best thing that could happen. I love it.
The absolute best, and it's so funny you bring that up because that is story number 2.
What?
For the day.
What?
University of Maryland has released a study. Well, they didn't release the study, I shouldn't say. They released the press release from a study where they were working with a chocolate milk company who...
Tell me I just said that. And that
I know. Isn't this awesome?
No way. Okay.
So, in the press release, it's a story about how the study shows that this one specific chocolate milk is great for recovery of young athletes post-concussion. Yeah, I know. And so there was obviously major criticism about, their research done with this one company, and they released a statement right away retracting the results.
No way.
Retracting the statement, saying what we released is not valid and shouldn't be used for the company for promotion and needs more investigation. The main criticism was they didn't release the study.
Yeah,
they didn't release the biases. They didn't release a whole bunch of things.
Well, that's not a study then.
So it really hits home here in Canada because, like you said, from CIS, this was back in... When was the last time we went to the basketball finals? I mean, my gosh, 2000. We were still in Ontario at that point.
2008 or 9.
They were promoting chocolate milk for recovery for young athletes because of the protein content, I guess.
not only promoting it, it was every every break, every foul shot, it was crazy.
Chocolate milk. So I picked this up from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and they post a link that goes right back to the University of Maryland website, posting their retraction, and shows the brand and shows all these things, right? So it's really interesting because the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine is speaking about how these USDA recommendations just came out, and the one thing that kids are getting enough of is protein and sugar.
Yep.
The main ingredients in this chocolate milk drink. So, and we have to make, when we're making statements about recovery post-concussion, that's a very serious time.
Oh, yeah.
And branched chain amino acids you get from protein, you don't just get them from milk, or even chocolate milk for that matter. You get them from protein. Are great for recovery, but that doesn't mean you need to drink chocolate milk to recover from a concussion.
No.
So we have to be very careful.
I know.
So the university has, obviously made the retraction. I think it's really interesting because it ties into our first story.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, our position on... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's about being... It's kind of sucks because we're in a time that I feel like we all used to believe that if a big company's saying it, then it must be valid. It must be true. They wouldn't be tricking us. Someone must have fact-checked this.
I mean, that's me.
I know.
Someone posts on the window, best coffee in the world. I'm thinking, I gotta go in. This is my spot.
Well, and I think that they target really vulnerable situations because people will do anything for their children.
Oh, definitely.
So if these big companies are saying, here's the stats, and if you drink milk, you have better bones, and here you have better this, and your children's teeth will be better, and whatever. I mean, you'll go out and just do whatever the heck is best for your child. So it sucks, but it's a time of discernment, and it's a time of just a couple searches to see the validity of statements, and you can really quickly get to the bottom of things.
Well, I mean, it's a little trickier, I think, in the milk industry because the industry is so powerful.
Well, any industry that's that powerful.
Yeah.
But you can also hear the flip side of it.
You can find that. Oh, definitely. I think you're right.
And at least test it out on your system. If you take it out of your system for 3 weeks and you start to see some positive results, perhaps it's not good for you.
For sure. I mean, just the sugar alone.
It's just crazy.
Not necessary. So, hard segue here into the third story, but I really love this one, and we've spoke about this one before because I was so inspired when I first saw it, and this is a story from Upworthy, which is, obviously a positive news site, and they are going through, or posting a video about this special education teacher from the States, and, he's teaching this class of, I think it's like 10 or more people, which I think is a lot for a special needs course, and he started this thing a few months ago where every morning spends a certain amount of time with every child. It's something like 5 to 10 minutes, which is a significant amount of time. Just going over all the things they're great at. And saying, listen, I think you're great at this. I think you're great at this. You're so awesome. And then gives them a high five. Okay? And then moves on to the next student. And after 2 months of doing this, the kids started complimenting each other like each other's successes were their own. And then the next thing was they started complimenting the teacher, saying he was the best teacher in the world. And obviously, all at once, the vibe of the class changed and everyone's progress started moving forward really, really quickly.
It just makes me emotional. Positive reinforcement.
It's powerful.
The whole thing. It's just such a beautiful thing.
Such a beautiful thing. Yeah. And I think that, this isn't...
On every level.
On every level. Oh.
If we could be doing this for everyone.
Definitely. I agree. I mean... Kids between the ages of 6 and 10, we know, is when they're developing their emotional responses to things, and they're starting to base their emotional responses on their experiences after that age. So, I mean, I think it could be valuable in kindergarten, in grade 1, grade 2. And
I think it could be. I think it's amazing for children. I think it's amazing for individuals with special needs. I think it's amazing for your partner and for your friends and for, you don't want to go out there like a motivational speaker and get weird.
No.
But, telling people what you see is just brilliant about them. I think we should all practice that more. I know with myself and in my relationships, a lot of people get thrown back because you've seen it with females. Like if I see a female and I think she looks beautiful, I tell her.
Yes,
and
you always do.
You've seen it be really, they're kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Because they, and it doesn't mean aesthetically beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It
can.
But it can sometimes mean that. But, with my girlfriends, like, I get more excited about their accomplishments sometimes than they do. Mm-hmm. Like, I toss out compliments wherever, if I feel it, I try to say it.
It's such a great quality.
Well, I try, and the more I try to practice it more, and I think that it breeds just so much good. I remember this time years ago, and I was with one of my friends, and her sister was just really quiet and kind of just one of those people that didn't, she just would never say what she wanted, or she just wouldn't, exert her personality. And I remember just spending one evening with her and just being like, I don't get it. I don't get why you're so quiet or why you're so shy. I would just, talk about how awesome she is and how beautiful she is and how smart she is and she's funny and she's talented and I would, you could do that. I swear to God, from that day on, the next day she was a different person.
You could see a change.
I could see a change.
It's powerful.
And, I'm not so much in contact with that friend anymore, but I'm still in contact with the sister.
Interesting.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you just reach out and say, tell someone something beautiful you see about them.
Well, so many people are never told what they're good at.
Oh, no. A lot of people are scared to tell people that they're great at something.
For sure, because they feel like it would bring them down? Is that what it is?
Well, I think sometimes people think that if we fan someone's flame, they make it too good.
Right, yeah.
The
fear-based.
Right, and I mean, we come from the East Coast where everybody's very humble. Mm-hmm. And if you say you're great at something, or you step out of that box into any realm of greatness, it's viewed sometimes negatively because you're being cocky or you're being boastful.
Definitely, it can
be. Which there's some really positive lessons to learn from that type of humble behavior, or everyone's not
graciousness and things. Yeah.
Right, but then there's that other thing where it's like, well, why don't we want people to be great? Why don't we want people to be weird? Why don't we want someone to stand out and think they're wonderful?
For sure. I mean, I try to do this one exercise with people who come in with anxiety and depression. We go through, because like I said about experiences being developed in this certain age, and then your experiences shape how you react to things. Well, people will come in, and whenever it's anxiety on the table, we go through some of the things they're anxious about and some of the experiences that may have led to this anxiety, and decide if they're real or not, for one, and if they're serving some sort of good purpose. And then we go through the circle and the square exercise, where we have this, this awkward looking square and then this perfect circle. And it's an illustration to show that, the square is your experiences. When you're in the square, you're focused on the experiences and how they're reflecting your situation. But the perfect circle is who you really are. That's who you are at your core. And then in 5 minutes, you can get a lot from a person. So I go through what I know about them already. And, usually you can pick up 2 or 3 qualities that are absolutely prevalent, very kind and gentle and caring, and if it's type A, it's very motivated, and if it's type B, it's very creative, and all these things, right? You can go through those very simply, and that perfect circle is who they are at their core, and the experiences are shaping how the circle is changing. And when you separate yourself consciously from that square and recognize those are based on something you've been through, it makes you better able to come quickly back to the core, back to your center. What's real, exactly. So, I mean, this positive reinforcement, some people will say, well, this is really fluffy.
I know people really want to complicate things in life. I've heard the same thing about Louise Hay.
Oh, yes, Louise Hay. That's really her only backlash, I guess.
Her principles are so simple, and she says, she'll laugh and say that people, when they come to this, they'll think this is just too easy. But if we come back to the spiritual teachers, we'll say Buddha, right? The laughing, it was all that easy. It's all that easy. So, I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, and we just, for whatever reason, because things are so complicated, and we're just bombarded with so much information and data 24/7, and people coming up with algorithms of how you become this and how you become that I think that we're really dismissive of just those simple things that work.
Well, we make things so serious.
We make things so serious.
And they don't have to be. I mean, the Buddhas really, really taught that.
Right.
That was a major teaching in Buddhism about things not mattering, or everything, either everything matters or everything doesn't
matter. Yeah. Right. But, yeah, I think that those simple, basic things like that Louise Hay, that just reminds me of Louise Hay, what he's doing. And
we had the privilege of seeing her live.
Yes.
At a Hay House conference, the I Can Do It Vancouver, many years ago. And my gosh, being in her presence and hearing her speak the words that you've read in the books and things like that, and it didn't seem fluffy at that time. It felt more like a nice warm blanket.
It felt like a blanket. If anybody I've ever seen anybody, she was a warm blanket. She was so cozy, and it was but it was powerful.
Oh, super powerful!
You couldn't ignore that energy.
It's a room of 5,000 people, and you felt like it was just you and her.
Another person that has that effect in their writing is Robert Holden.
He does, yeah. That's
Which is really interesting for a male for me, because he has that calming, peaceful, warm blanket.
Well, he was sort of the host of the event at that time, wasn't he? And it was the first time we were introduced to who he even was. And it's sort of the younger male version of Louise. It's very similar
her
thing.
Energy. Yeah.
It's funny how you can pick up energies from people just in only meeting them once, right?
I know. Yeah, so true. Or from reading their books.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, it's not like I was surprised by her energy.
No.
I can't say that any one of those speakers I was surprised. I've read all their books, basically. And not one of them, their energies that I was,
I would agree with that, yeah.
Didn't surprise me.
No, definitely.
Marianne Williamson is powerful, truthful, sharp, intense.
Definitely. And I think that's one of the reasons they're good writers.
I know.
They can really get across who they are in the writing.
It's really amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're not surprised when you meet them.
At all. No. I guess that's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's all the stories for today. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's such a nice story. It just makes me feel good.
Yeah, it really does, and I think we should use it more often. I know that you do. It's part of your life. And I try to do when, focusing on mental, emotional. But I think it's valuable in literally every situation.
I really hope that we also start seeing more stories like that happening in the world.
Me too.
Because, we, often receive like that 1% of negativity that's happening. The lowest of the low. But there's beautiful things like this happening every day. And this should be honored and celebrated. It should be. That's what we should be talking about at the water cooler. And that's what we should be talking about, gossiping about.
I know many kindergarten teachers and their stories don't get published.
Exactly, right? So let's keep breathing into that awesomeness.
Definitely. Healthy Rebel Radio, episode 14. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamiHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamiHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamiHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at DamiHealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and see you tomorrow.